What's going on, you guys? Today we got my dirty girl over here. We're gonna be doing our oil change. This thing definitely needs it, so thought it was a good idea to bring you guys with me. Let's get it done. Okay, so first you're gonna have to remove 5 bolts in order to gain access to the oil drain pan and the filter. The 5 bolts you're gonna have to move is 1, 2. Those are on the belly pan. This is 3 because the filter is located right here. That's so when you're prying on it, you don't crack the fairings. So 2 belly pan on that side, and then you got 1 way back here, which I already moved. And you have 1 more right here. All right, those are the 4. Once you remove those, you can start prying it off from up here. It's just latched on by a couple of clips. You don't have to be extremely gentle, but don't be extremely rough either, because remember, it's plastic and you don't want to break it. If you break it, you're fucked. So after you've got the 4 bolts removed, you're gonna come down here to the bottom of the bike, and you're gonna remove this oil drain plug. But before you move the oil drain plug, you're gonna want to put a oil spill pan right underneath it. I've already loosened mine, so just gonna put the rest of it with my hands. And if you're on the exhaust side of the bike, you're gonna be turning it down and toward you. You're on the opposite side of the bike, which is a lot harder. I recommend doing it on this side. Boom. Just let that drain, just like that. Nasty and dark. Definitely needed this. Okay, so while you're doing that, you're gonna want to get this, sorry about the lighting. You're gonna want to get this filter out just above the motor. I'm gonna move the side fairing out of the way so I can get access to it. What I like to do is just loosen this bolt right here, so that way when I'm prying at it, I don't break the fairing. All right, so let me get that done. All right, so I'm just getting the last of this bolt out. You want to use your Allen wrench, but since I'm trying to record and do it with one hand. All right, so boom, I got the bolt out. So what that does is, when I pry on this is actually a little bit flexible, so I don't break it. This comes out a little further. The object is not to break anything while you're doing this job. So I'm gonna try and get this oil filter off real quick. Okay, so I'm gonna be taking out the oil filter. This is the tool that I use only because it's a little in there, and that area is kind of tight, and I've got big fat hands. So I pry up on this a little bit, get it on the filter. Sorry, I gotta do it the other way. Filter. There we go. And let's loosen it. How this works is, the more pressure, I broke the seal, so more pressure you put on the on this, as you can see, it closes it. So as you bend on it, it tightens up on the filter. I also use it to put it on because, like I said, it's a tight squeeze over here. I got that tool in Napa Auto Parts, but I don't know if everybody has a Napa Auto Parts where they live. So you can just go to pretty much any auto store. It's the same thing that they use on cars. All right, so we got that off. Okay, so now we have the new oil filter. I'm gonna pop this open. It should come wrapped. Take this wrapping off. I'm not gonna really need this, so just put it back in the box. What I like to do is take the used filter, throw it in the box as well. Oops, actually, I'm sorry. You want to compare them, make sure they're the same size. Yep, they're both the same size, as you can see. Same diameter. And now, what we're gonna do is take the oil. Some people like to prime their filters. What I mean by prime, basically fill the filter up before you actually install it on. I'm not gonna do that because I don't want to waste oil. So what I like to do is, what you should do so you get a good seal, take your finger, dip it in the oil, and you want to kind of coat this gasket right up here and everything around it, so that way you get a nice seal when you install it on. All right, so that should be good enough. Okay, so one thing you want to keep in mind, you should clean this mating surface where you're going to install the filter prior to putting the new filter in. That's what I like to do. So that way, you know, you clean up any debris or anything that's over here. Okay, we're gonna get this filter on. Get that out of the way. It should thread right on, just like that. Like I said, it's a real tight squeeze in there, so you're probably not going to be able to get a really good grip. So how I finish it off is literally with this. Whatever I couldn't get on with my hand, this. You don't want to do it too tight, but enough so it's not gonna be leaking on you. All right, so now we're gonna put the oil drain plug back in. I would recommend changing this crush washer that's on it, just to be safe, prevent leaks. I'm not going to change mine, but usually you're supposed to do it every oil change or so as recommended. I think this one's fine, so I'm just gonna put it back in. If I have any problems or issues, I'll just be back down here doing it again. But gonna put it on like so. You want to hand thread it in. pretty sure it's aluminum. So if you do it with a power tool, you risk stripping the threads. So get your socket wrench. You just want to tighten it up. All right, so everything's nice and buttoned up. I didn't put the belly fairing on, if you notice, because what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna put oil into the bike. All right, so you're gonna unscrew this engine fill cap. This is where you're gonna fill the oil. There's another one down here, but this is not the engine fill cap. This is the engine dipstick. On the 08 CBR 1000s and up, they have a dipstick. On the 07 and down, they do not have a dipstick. So this is how you check the motor oil. This is where you're gonna be filling the oil at, all right? So you wanna get you a funnel. And she's gonna drink up. It's not a rush, so just be slow and efficient. You don't wanna overfill. This bike takes 10 W40 synthetic blend. It's not gonna take the full it's not gonna take the full gallon, which 4 quarts equals a gallon. It's not gonna take the full thing. So what you wanna do is when it fills around a quart, you probably wanna throw like, I don't know if you guys, I don't know exactly what half a quart feels like, but kind of just eyeballing it, and you want to pop this open. Let's see where it's at. So first you clean the dipstick off completely. On the dipstick, I'm trying to get it to zoom, but as you can see, you have, this is the low, and this line is where it's full. That's where it should be. All right. So once it's at that line in the middle, the oil is where it needs to be. So you're gonna dip it in to check it. All right. I like to straighten the bike for 2 seconds. And I like to check it. Boom, that looks like it's exactly a little over, but it's not bad. It looks like it's almost exact. So we're not gonna fill anymore. And as you know, these bikes are notorious for burning oil. I'll clean this off because I got a little oil on it. They're notorious for burning oil. So that little bit you still have inside of the jug that you haven't poured in, you're gonna save that, hold on to that, and as you burn oil, you'll just top it off. Oh yeah, another thing, you're gonna wanna check out the O-ring. Make sure the O-ring doesn't have any cracks and it's not in bad condition, because if it is, as soon as you turn your motor on and as it builds pressure, it's gonna leak. You wanna put this on here, nice and tight. Clean up any excess spilled oil. And next thing you want to do is turn the bike on. Run it, let it build oil pressure. See if anything leaks. If nothing leaks, you're good to put on your belly fairings and strap everything right up. All right, so here goes a quick cold start for you guys. There's no temp on the temp gauge. You're gonna let it get up to pressure, up to temperature. Pressure and it gets up to temperature, That's when it'll produce a leak if you didn't tighten everything up properly. All right, so we got the bike up to temperature. What we're basically looking for at this point is any leaks. This is why we don't put the belly pan right on right away. So the parts you want to check is you want to look at the oil filter. It's squeaky clean, as you can see at the bottom of it. No leaks. No leaks on the ground. Everything's clean down there. Then you also want to check the drain plug for any leaks. You also want to look at the oil fill area. Make sure that's not leaking anything. This whole thing's dry. And then you also want to check engine dipstick. This is dry as well. All right. So when and if everything is all nice and clean, you can throw the belly fairings back on. You don't have to tighten anything up. Everything is good to go. Real quick side note, before you put these back on, these bolts back into the fairings, please make sure you put some Loctite on them. These things are under extreme stress and vibration as you're moving through the streets, over potholes, bumps, whether if you're on a track or not, the motor vibration, just everything. So do yourself a favor so you don't lose them and end up breaking your plastics, losing those, and having to spend an additional $500 to $600 replacing everything. And that's if you go eBay. OEM is much more expensive. Get yourself some Loctite. Put some Loctite on these bolts. You don't need a lot. I think it's like $4 to $5 inside of your nearest auto parts store. So put some Loctite on these bolts. After you button everything up, the bike is ready to go. Like I said, remember, put some Loctite on it. Double check for the leaks before you put the belly fairings back on, and you should be good to go. All right. Thanks for watching. Peace.